And after the last all candidates meeting today, I had a very angry person afterwards saying, well, we don't need a family doctor, there's walk-in clinics. And I would beg to differ, that I think that a family doctor is a core part of the Canada Health Act and of healthcare. And so we propose to put in many more doctors and many more nurses.
Thank you very much. And finally, Michael Hill of the Marxist-Leninist Party to wrap up this question.
Yes, as I stated before, the issue of housing right there. The fact is that when we waste money going over to places that in adventures elsewhere, the amount of cash is enormous. It could cover the cost quite easily. Also, too, we have a system where we've got very wealthy individuals who can take off somewhere and get any medical attention that they want, require. They get tax breaks right there. They're able to manipulate things to their benefit, but they are not paying their share of the costs that will go into something such as healthcare.
Thank you very much. Okay, we've got time for one more question in this segment of the debate. And you know, there have been some people here talking about democracy that is sweeping through the Middle East, trying to sweep some countries and failing. But it has certainly been a tremendous inspiration to see people taking up the banner of democracy throughout the Middle East. Very inspiring. And meanwhile, a story today that just ran online predicts the lowest turnout in history for this Canadian election. That's what's being predicted right now. So my question for candidates is, how do you convince the Canadian electorate that this particular election is an important election and that really this is an election that all of us need to step up to the plate and exercise our franchise? I'm going to start with Travis McRae of the Pirate Party of Canada.
This is a great topic for Pirates because Pirate Party International was the big reason why the Egyptians and the Tunisians were able to do so well in their quest. The Pirate Party International, including Pirate Party Canada to an extent, started sending black faxes to all the government lines in the Egyptian government. That way they couldn't communicate within themselves during the rebellion. We also were faxing and creating 1-800 numbers or their equivalent for 800 numbers for people to use dial-up internet when they shut off the internet. So we facilitated democracy even when their government tried to shut it down. But we're fighting for that too. So if you want a party that supports democracy, you need to vote Pirate.
Thank you very much. Piracy. Adrian Carr of the Green Party.
You stole my line. If you want change, vote Green. But I truly.
That's what pirates do.
You know, it is very frightening to think that the number of people who elected the Conservative Party in the last election is actually fewer than the number of people who didn't vote, who could have voted. So you do need to take your vote seriously. You do, and don't let anybody tell you, as I said before, that this is not an election in which we can see change happen. It can happen. You have the power. Don't let anybody convince you that your vote doesn't count, especially when you vote for what you believe in, for the kind of change you want. Those who don't come out to vote are those who are most disgusted by what they see in politics today. And part of what's driving that is this incredible attack politics that's going on. Do you know that in the United States, they call the attack ads voter suppression tactic? The whole intent of it is to drive people to stay home, to be so disgusted they don't even vote. It's happening not only by one party, it's happening by too many of the parties in it. It's happening in our parliament in the question period. We need a different style of democracy. We need people who will ignore the attack ads, ignore what's happening out there, and just say, no, I have the incredible opportunity to make change with my vote. I'm going to vote for what I want. Get out and vote.
Thank you,
Tell
Adrian.
everybody to get out and vote.
Adrian. The Progressive Canadian Party.
The main reason that this election is important, and the reason why voters need to get out and vote, is that without voter participation, our institutions, our parliament, cannot function. For parliament to function, it is necessary to have leaders who believe in abiding by parliamentary rules and parliamentary traditions. The Progressive Canadian Party is a party that wants to carry on with the traditions of the original Progressive Conservative Party. We are very concerned about how this government has been treating parliamentary institutions, what its approach has been to information that parliamentary committees are entitled to. Without voter participation, without people holding the government accountable, how are we going to make our institutions function properly?
Thank you very much, Michael Greenfield, of the Progressive Canadian Party. Now, Hetty Fry, the Liberal Party of Canada.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to go over what I said at the beginning, which is the fact that democracy absolutely does not exist in this country anymore. We live in a parliamentary democracy currently, and the point is that there are 5 pieces to a solid democracy. One is a free and autonomous judiciary, a parliament that recognizes the majority in a minority government, the majority of parliamentarians are opposition and they were voted for by more people than the government was, and is to work closely with the opposition parties to make the changes necessary when we're in a minority government. And Liberals have shown that they could do that. I refer to it under Pearson and under Trudeau when we were minority governments. We worked very closely with the NDP to bring in some really important changes to benefit Canadians. Secondly, a civil society must be active and informed, and we're going to open up access to information, which currently is closed down by the Stephen Harper government. You cannot get access to information. Parliamentarians cannot get access to information. The parliamentary budget officer cannot get access to information. How can you vote as a parliamentarian when you're not informed? How can you vote as a citizen when you're not informed? And do not punish people anymore if they're a non-governmental body and they criticize the government, they don't get funding anymore. This is heinous. This is going on under our noses. You cannot silence civil society and then expect them to vote.
I have to silence you, unfortunately, now. Hetty, it's my job. Pass it to Michael Hill of the Marxist-Leninist Party of Canada.
Yes, it's a question of democratic renewal and focusing on what type of system we have. First of all, if a party gets 40% of the votes, they get a majority. Is that right? No, absolutely not. We have a system now where it dates back centuries ago to when you had 2 monolithic parties, Whigs and the Tories. In a multi-partisan society, it's not workable. It's obsolete. And we have to address that question. We need a system of proportional representation, and we need empowerment, and a system that empowers the voters, empowers the people in this country. And we're certainly not getting it with the type of system that we have right now. Democracy is not something that is stagnant. It's something that can be improved upon and renewed. And that's our platform as to what we will be suggesting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael Hill. And finally, Karen Shillington of the New Democratic Party.
Well, you know, I think those of us who like politics, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here by virtue of you being here. You are part of that group of people. That we live in kind of a bubble and say, oh yes, people should vote and they should get informed. And I'm wondering if maybe it's up to us to get people more engaged. Because I was at an event last night at St. Andrew's Wesley United Church for young people, and there was 1,200 young people there. So to say that young people aren't engaged is wrong. We need to make it relevant. We need to make it relevant. We need to make changes, big changes in our parliamentary democracy, because it's obviously not working. As a personal comment, I would suggest that maybe it's time we go to something like Australia where you are obligated to vote. Maybe if people are forced to do it, they will learn about it and get excited. But it would be better if people realize that election getting voting is not enough, that you do have to get involved in political party or in a non-governmental agency, whatever, between elections, because it is between elections that the real work goes on. And I think that the new technology, social media, I think are going to be the way of the future to get the young people involved because they want to be.
Thanks very much, Karen. And thanks to all our candidates for the first half of our debate. Great job. Great job. Now, we are going to be shortly opening up the floor to questions from you. But in the meantime, I want to ask Christine Ackerman from the West End Residents Association to please come up and say a few words before we get into the second half of the debate. So, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi folks, how's everybody doing? We're about halfway through now, and we're getting to the fun part where they're actually going to get to ask each other questions, and you're going to get to ask them questions as well. So what I'm here to do right now is just to say thanks for coming out. We really appreciate engagement by residents in Vancouver Centre. What we do a lot in the West End Residents Association is encourage people to get involved in their community, get involved in the issues that matter to them. So it's really exciting to see everybody here today. And our theme for today, as we were talking about it, is to dig deep, because we know that people are not engaged in voting at this point. So we want you to dig deep. You've dug deep by coming here and being present and participating in democracy. Now we're going to ask you to dig a little deeper and pull out that change in your pocket that you might have saved for your cappuccino tomorrow morning before you head out to work, and put it in the buckets. They're going to be going around today. WERA is a complete volunteer organization, and the only way we get money is to fundraise for us. So we've shelled out about $800 to rent this room today. You can imagine that's a lot of expense for a little group that only has 6 directors. So all we're asking is for you to dig deep. If you can afford a cup of coffee these days, that's about $5. If you want to dig deeper and double that down to 10, that'd be awesome. They're coming around with the yellow buckets. And Travis is giving, which is a great example for all the candidates on stage. I do want to help support democracy as well. So thanks again for your attention. We will do that. Back to you, Steve.
That was just exactly the right amount of time to speak, Christine. I really needed that break. Thank you very much. Okay, now, here's the way things are going to go in round 2. We are going to have our open mic portion of the debate. We ask that people who have questions, please keep the question to no more than 1 minute, and then once again, each candidate will be given a minute to respond. Now, I'm going to start with a question. Yeah, oh, by the way, one other thing I need to mention, and that is the Civic Association of Iranian Canadians is our co-sponsor for this debate, and we have here Mariam, who is a Farsi translator. If there is anyone here who wants to ask a question in Farsi, Mariam will be able to translate, and I'm going to get Mariam to say that, because if there is someone here who is speaking Farsi, they probably didn't understand what I said. So.
سلام من مریم هستم. اگر سوالی هست که به فارسی میخواید بگید به انگلیسی من ترجمه کنم لطفا بگید و من ترجمه کنم.
Thank you very much.